Hey guys, John with Dankalodian channel here again. I just want to start off by saying thank you guys so much. We broke the 100 subscriber point. Like I said, a lot of people don't see that as being very much. I see it as being quite a lot. So thank you guys so much for that. All the likes and subscribes, it means the world to us. So this video is going to be the one that I said I was going to post on why I want Banjo and Kazooie in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, as well as my personal history with Banjo Kazooie. So again, thank all of you guys for the subscribes and the likes, and hope you enjoy. Alright, so let's preface this with a bit of a brief history. I, as a kid, never got a game console the first year it came out. In fact, only until the Nintendo Switch did I ever get a game console in its launch year. I got the Switch on its launch day. So I got the Nintendo 64 the Christmas of 1999. I got it in the bundle pack with Pokemon Snap and the Atomic Purple controller. So, with that being said, I didn't get a lot of games either. The only opportunities that I had to get games were if they were extremely discounted, or for Christmas or my birthday. So, with the next week after that, I think my brother actually, he was into racing games, so he bought NASCAR 2000 and San Francisco Rush 2049. So I had those three games. Up until my birthday 4 months later, I got a copy of Super Mario 64. So I had that. Which meant I had no more hope of getting a game until Christmas. Now, skip forward a little bit. My mother used to go to yard sales a lot during the summer, garage sales, whatever you want to call them, just to see what they had. And I always asked her to keep a lookout for video games for me, because I knew some people would sell them, and possibly if they were cheap, she would get them. One day in the summer, I had slept in. I decided not to go with her. This was sometime in the summer of 2000. She comes back in, has two N64 games in her hand. One of them was Banjo Kazooie. The other one was Wave Race 64. But that became one of my favorite games of the system too. Once I put in Banjo Kazooie, my mind was blown. Now, I stated in our top 5 characters video that Banjo Kazooie found me. I didn't go looking for it. That's the story behind that. I was just sitting in my room one Saturday morning playing my N64, playing probably Pokemon Snap or something. Maybe, at that time, probably Mario 64. But then my mom just comes in, hands me a copy of Banjo Kazooie. So I start playing it. As I said, mind blown. I had barely even heard of this game before. I saw one commercial for it, I believe, back in '98, before I even got my N64. And just everything about it was just fantastic. I spent more time... Later, I got Ocarina of Time. I spent more time in Banjo Kazooie than I did in Ocarina of Time or Mario 64. Now, I'm a kid living in the middle of nowhere, a very, very rural area. I don't have a lot to do. So, I spend so much time in Banjo Kazooie that it's like a second home, if that makes sense. I'll find myself sitting in the worlds, not even really completing anything. Just roaming around, listening to the music, trying to find what I can, like secret places. I would have already found all of the jigsaw puzzle pieces, all of the notes, all the mumbo tokens, all that jazz. I would have found all of that, and I would still just go hang out in one of the worlds because it felt that nice to just hang out in the worlds of that game. If you haven't played the game, you might not understand this. To those of you that have and really loved it, you might get it. If you take, for example, the fact that I really love Christmas. Christmas has always been my favorite holiday since as far back as I can remember. Freeze Easy Peak, which is a snow world in Banjo Kazooie, has a Christmas theme. There would be times that I would want to play the game, and instead of continuing the story, I was just in a mindset where I would just want to relax there. So I would just roam around Freeze Easy Peak and just not have a point to do it. I had completed everything in the stage. I had found everything. I would just roam around and redo stuff. The game wasn't even beaten yet. I would just redo stuff. In Treasure Trove Cove, that's another one. It was just like a Caribbean-style beach level. I would just kind of roam around in there, fly from like the platforms to the other platforms, see if there was anything else at all that I had missed, even though I had searched every inch of that stage. I just enjoyed hearing the music, hanging out in the relaxing beach environment. It's strange, I know, but that's what happens when you develop a strong connection to a game. Another world. Believe it or not, Spiral Mountain, which is the first world that you come into. It's like the, not really the hub world, but kind of. Spiral Mountain is where you start. It's where you go through your tutorial. It's where all of that happens. The song in Spiral Mountain, all of that, to me, it was kind of like a safe zone. There were enemies there, all that stuff. They were easy enemies, but you're there. You're just chilling. The music made it feel like home, like the safe spot. You had a feeling of safety in that spot, and it's weird, I know. But that's just one of the things. I spent so much time in those worlds, and it was just mind-blowing. And again, with the fact that I spent so much time in that game, it almost feels like I've actually been there, because as a kid I spent so much time on my 64 playing Banjo Kazooie. And in my childlike imagination, as I kept playing this game, I would be there and then I would remember it in my head. Oh, you've got to be trying to help Banjo's sister out. You're supposed to be trying to help her. So then that would spark my mind to try to finish some of the other stuff that I hadn't finished yet. And I would go do that. But of course, once I found another stage that I liked, I would usually end up just forgetting what the purpose of the game was and just playing around there even after I had found everything. Gobi's Valley is another one that happened in. It's like an Egyptian style level. You just kind of chill in there. Now you gotta think, at this time I had just got my N64, meaning the only experience I had had with 3D games, particularly 3D sandbox platformers, were playing them on occasion at like Walmart or Target if I ever happened to see one there. I would just play it for like 20 or 30 minutes while my parents were doing their shopping. So ultimately, that's the only experience that I had with it. Before this, we had our Super Nintendo. That broke in, I think, 1997? So it was 2 years, like, without any video games except the original Game Boy. I had that. So I was coming right off from Super Nintendo and original Game Boy when I got my N64. So all I had been playing was Pokemon for the most part, and Killer Instinct on Game Boy. So just going into these games and being like, that's 3D. Oh my god. You just have to understand how things were at the time. I mean, it was like we were coming off 2D. The only 3D that like I had experienced before that point was playing like Donkey Kong Country or something, where it was like 2D 3D. Like it was 3D pre-rendered graphics. Looked 3D, but it was actually 2D. So a platformer for this, like I said, Mario 64 I had played a bit, but I had played Mario games before all the time. There was always a Mario game I could play. And the next one I got was Banjo Kazooie. So it's a whole new character, an all new idea, unless you count him being in Diddy Kong Racing, but you didn't really get to experience the character that much. So it's just this whole new world. It's not the Mushroom Kingdom, it's not DK Island, it was brand new. I felt more connected to Banjo Kazooie than I did Mario of any kind or Donkey Kong of any kind. The only game that I really am connected to as much, maybe a little less than Banjo Kazooie, is actually Final Fantasy VII, which is why I was really glad when Cloud got into Smash 4. The music. Oh my god, the music is fantastic in that game. I don't know, it may just be because of nostalgia, wearing the whole like rose-tinted glasses thing. I relax so much more listening to music from Banjo Kazooie than I do almost any other video game theme except Aquatic Ambiance from Donkey Kong Country and Dire Dire Docks from Mario 64. I swear to you, I can turn on almost any song from Banjo Kazooie except the Gobi's Valley theme and just relax. I can just chill. As far as the moveset that Banjo and Kazooie could have in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I really don't need to go into it that much. I mean, people have done it. There are videos, I'm sure, everywhere on the moveset for Banjo and Kazooie. So it would probably be better for you to go find one from them where someone has actually kind of zoned in and made a video focusing on just that. But right off the bat, it would be pretty easy to just say, I mean, you've got Banjo's basic swipe, like his punch. You've got Kazooie, where Banjo like kind of, you know, tucks his shoulder down, and you like ram forward with Kazooie. Of course, you got the ground pound. You've got a projectile move with Kazooie coughing out the eggs. You've got Kazooie farting out eggs. I don't know what purpose that would have other than to be a stage hazard after you like released it. Like the recovery could be just like Kazooie launching upward. I mean, it's not hard to really figure out what the moves could be. It's very possible. And as far as this goes, I never really played Banjo Tooie that much. All of my love and my like passion for the Banjo Kazooie game and Banjo and Kazooie as a character possibility for Smash Bros. Ultimate come from just me playing the first game that much. By the time Banjo Tooie came out, I really didn't even know about it. It might have already been out when I got Banjo Kazooie, but as I said, I didn't get to get games that often, and I was spending so much time. I mean, by the time that I found out about Banjo Tooie, I was playing Ocarina of Time. I still wasn't done with Mario 64. I had gotten Mario Tennis, and last but not least, because I heard friends talking about it, I ended up getting Super Smash Bros. For N64. Once I got that game, I was so excited because in my 10-year-old child mind, all these characters I had played as a kid, I could now just slap the piss out of people with them. And I remember seeing the commercials for that game, but not knowing what it was about. All I know is that Mario, Pikachu, Donkey Kong, and I don't remember if it was Yoshi or Link, were just walking through a field, and then they just start smacking the piss out of each other. I thought that was fantastic. I didn't know that it was for a game. I was probably off somewhere in my mind. But I started playing Super Smash Bros. For N64, and as I go through the game, you know, I had no way of knowing what characters were in the game that you could unlock. I didn't know you could unlock characters. I would just play it, and I was like, oh, there's characters that you can unlock. I kept unlocking characters, and in my mind, I was like, okay, does this mean that Banjo may be in here? Is Banjo in here? Banjo wasn't in there. So, sadly enough, I removed myself from the Nintendo, I guess you'd say club, I don't know. In that next game generation, I got a PlayStation 2 because graphics. Kind of regret it now. Kind of wish I would have been around for the GameCube days, but what can you do? Can't go back. Yeah, I played through PlayStation 2, which I played some good games on that. Final Fantasy X, Kingdom Hearts, a lot of sports games back in the day. But then I had a friend that had a GameCube, and I didn't have many friends at that time that were into Nintendo stuff. Most of them were PlayStation or Xbox a little later. But anyway, I went and played a little bit of Smash Bros. Melee. I asked him, I'm like, hey, are Banjo and Kazooie in this game? Who? Oh my god. But anyway, no, Banjo and Kazooie obviously were not in Melee. I didn't know why at the time. I didn't even know that Microsoft had bought Rare until like 2 or 3 years after that, when they released Conquer Live and Reloaded for the Xbox. So at that point, I now realized why there was never another Banjo game on GameCube. Probably the only game that would have pulled me to the GameCube would have been Banjo 3. Would have been Banjo and Kazooie 3, Banjo 3E, whatever they're going to call it. And it just never happened, and I finally figured out why. A few years down the line, I start hanging out with a different group of friends. They're really into, like, the Wii. They have Smash Bros. Brawl, right? We start playing. It sneaks into my mind again. We really need Banjo and Kazooie in here. None of them really knew who Banjo and Kazooie were either. So, at that point, there was really no hope for it. Until I realized that Snake was in. And I was like, oh man, if they're gonna get people from different lines, like from different companies, they could get Banjo and Kazooie in at some point. So we keep playing. It eventually leaves my mind and I have fun with the game as is. It was after that that I really got more into PC gaming. Kind of moved away from consoles for quite a while. Still, if I was hanging around people and they were playing Smash Brothers, regardless whether it was Brawl, Melee, N64, I would play it because I just love playing Smash Brothers games. Then flash forward to the Wii U days, right? This was a couple years back, living in an apartment with 2 friends. One of them has a Wii U and has Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, right? Smash 4. We have Smash 4, we got friends coming over all the time, we have like 8 people playing, and we're having to like rotate out. So it's just fun. Cloud got in and all that stuff. I remember hearing about the Smash ballot happening, and I was like, oh, that's cool that they're doing that. Come to find out, Banjo and Kazooie had some support on the Smash ballot, and that really got me excited. I kept thinking, though, as I was playing that game, we need Banjo and Kazooie in this, because I just kept thinking how great it would be to have them in the game. I've been wanting Banjo and Kazooie in Super Smash Bros. Since the Smash 64 days. It has nearly been 20 years that I have been wanting these characters in Smash Bros. I understand a lot of Eugenio people may be in the same boat with that. Which is why, out of all the fan bases, because in these days, everybody waving their flag around for their character, getting upset, even getting to the point of getting mad at people when they say a character that's not theirs because they think it's hurting that character's possibility of getting in, even though it's been like ESRB rated already, so the full game is out there. I mean, it's the characters are in. All we're doing is hoping for the character that we want, and we need to support each other in that, I feel. But as I was saying, the Geno characters, I actually have more of a soft spot, I think, than probably the rest of them. There are characters that I want in more than Geno because I don't have the experience with Geno that a lot of people do. But I know you guys have probably been wanting Geno for a long time, the way that I've been wanting Banjo in for a long time. Once Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was announced and that E3 Direct hit, and I saw how many characters were in, I heard Sakurai be like, oh well, there's not going to be as many new characters. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, dude, you brought everybody back. And then that first Smash Direct in August. Oh my god. Just the fact that he said don't be expecting too many, I was thinking we were going to get a total of like 5 new characters, including like Echo Fighters. And we get 5 in the first Direct. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is like hyping me up. So as soon as I got done watching that, it's like the Banjo Kazooie hype just rose up, you know? I'm so hyped for this game. I'm extremely hyped at the idea of Banjo and Kazooie being in the game, unless it's not obvious enough. Yeah, I'm just hyped up. So, I went on a bit of a rant. In any case, the people who are wanting Banjo and Kazooie in, I feel, may have a very similar thought process as I do. Strong connection as a kid. The character has not been used well in so long. With the exception of Rare Replay, which I gotta say is the best that Microsoft has used those properties since they purchased them. Releasing an improved version of Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie, gotta give it to them there. Good idea. Good on Rare for doing that. I'm not even gonna touch on it. You may have noticed the absence of nuts and bolts. No reason to touch on it. There's no reason. If you're following Banjo Kazooie at all, you know not to even talk about nuts and bolts. Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts was a poop. That's all. Sucked a big bag of dick. But all of us people wanting Banjo and Kazooie in, we just want our friends back. We developed a strong bond to these characters as a kid. Some of us may have actually discovered them through Rare Replay. I mean, it could be some like younger people that played the game that hadn't before and were like, wow, this is a cool game. For you guys, I'm very glad that you like the character. But for a lot of you guys like me who played it when you were a kid, like, you haven't had another adventure with these characters that was worthwhile since Banjo Tooie. I mean, Microsoft hasn't been using these characters that well. We want them back. Getting these characters in Smash Bros. Ultimate would be like having one more adventure with the bear and bird that you developed a relationship with back in the day. And all I can say is I hope that we get our wish this time. And it's really kind of hard. You know, when you've got characters like this and you've developed a strong bond to them as a child, it's sometimes really hard to put that into words. That's what I'm experiencing right now. Like, I've got all the feelings about the character and about why I want them, you know, in Smash Ultimate. It's not easy to really put into words how you feel about it, if you catch my drift at all on that. So alright, I did the best I could. I hope it's okay. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you want to follow along with us as we find more out about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or as we react to the Nintendo Directs, or just anything we may talk about, we try to upload videos usually at least a few times a week. But yeah, I guess that's it. Again, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you want to follow along, give us a subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later.